I love telling these stories about El Paso, about Isleta, about my parents and Mexican Americans and Mexicanos.
El Paso native and award-winning author Sergio Troncoso writes about life on the border, and some of the inspiration behind his books are some places you might recognize.
And I love the border around Isleta, around Zaragoza, and Mount Carmel, which is the church that we would go to.
Troncoso is now making his way into the Texas Literary Hall of Fame, but his love for reading began as a
My
child.
parents were from Juarez, and they came over and bought their little place in Isleta.
Growing up in this modest home in what was once a more rural Isleta, Troncoso spent much of his young life reading.
I grew up, going up and down Alameda Avenue before the border freeway was finished. And I loved spending time at the El Paso Public Library. That's where I became a reader.
And eventually found himself in the hallways of Harvard and Yale University.
When I left El Paso, I was a poor kid. And so for me, it also challenged me. It also pushed me not to be complacent about the border, not to be complacent about how I grew up.
He's now a prominent author, but is proud of his roots in El Paso. The place that once sparked his love for reading is now named after him.
The reason I'm here, the reason I teach at Yale, the reason I get any kind of attention was because of the immigrant values I learned in Isleta, in El Paso. I have never forgotten that. My two most recent books, they're behind me in that background, follow this long-standing love of the border, of border families. So one of my very primary motivations to write those books, to tell those stories about my abuelita and what she meant to me, to tell those stories about my father and mother and the kind of Mexican immigrant values that they gave me in Isleta and beyond, and how they propelled me.